Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Caroline Quick. With me tonight, I have Ladin Suliman, the president of the Middle Eastern and North African Association. Ladin, thank you so much for being here tonight. I'd like to start by asking you, what is the Middle East and North African Association?
Hey, Caroline, thank you so much for having me on tonight. So the Middle East North African Association is a very long name, so I'm just going to say MENNA, or the Middle Eastern Association for short, throughout this entire interview. But what I will say is that it's an organization of students, basically, where our aim is to create and foster a community for Middle Eastern students here at Penn State, and also to sort of educate the Penn State community about what it means to be Middle Eastern and how Middle Eastern people are like.
I know that you decided to restart the club. Why was that?
Right, so it had started actually this year. I was in the fall semester. AR and Anthony were the president and vice president. And they initially were just a group of friends who put it together, but it quickly fell apart because they didn't really have the organizational tools that they needed to keep it in place. So I was always interested in the club, and I'd reach out to Anthony time and time again. I'm sure he thought I was harassing him. What's going on with the club? What's going on with the club? And eventually, at the beginning of the spring semester, he reached out to me, and we had a conversation. And then we just eventually put it together, got an e-board together, and we've just been working at it ever since.
Can you please describe the goal of the club?
Yeah, so the goal is very similar to the mission, and it's really to, because I remember how it was like coming in as a freshman and not really finding a sense of community. So I just wanted other freshmen who are from the region, or are familiar with the region, to be able to find a home in that community.
That's great. And in your opinion, why do you think it's important to have a club representing Middle Eastern and North African students?
I think the Middle East is a very misunderstood place. Of course, it's a geopolitical term, and of course, when we think of the Middle East, the two things that come to mind are Arab and Muslim. And while those two groups do reside in the Middle East, well, the largest Muslim population is actually in Indonesia, so outside of the Middle East. But what I will say is it's a very diverse area of many different ethnic groups, religions, languages, Christians, Jews, Muslims. It's a home to them all. So I just wanted people to just, through meeting a Middle Eastern person here at Penn State, be able to change their views, their preconceived notions on Middle Eastern people as well.
Right, and how can someone get involved in the club?
There's different levels of involvement. I mean, you can just join our GroupMe, follow our Instagram at MENNA PSU. And then on both of those platforms, you'll see updates for events. And you can also attend our events. We have a Ramadan football tournament, or as the Americans like to call it, soccer. You know, we can have that little debate later, but it's going to go on. It's going to start next week, hopefully. And we have a hookah formal actually tomorrow. For anyone watching, please come join us. It's going to be a chill out downtown. And we also have a formal at the end of this month. And of course, with my graduation, we're going to have some vacancies on the executive board. And so if you're interested, please reach out to me, and I'd love to talk. Yeah.
Can you tell me more about some of the events that you've had in the past?
Yeah. So I'll tell you about the biggest one. We had one with ASA, the African Student Association. They're one of the biggest student orgs on campus. It was called Battle of the A's. So it was us, along with a number of other organizations like the Caribbean Student Association and the Filipino Student Association. And basically, it was like I was saying earlier about the sort of cultural exchange, and we had many different games which we played. It was very lighthearted. ASA brought out a huge turnout. It was a great time.
And finally, what do you have in store for next year?
Next year, we're trying to really solidify the structure of the club, have some more educational stuff, have some more roundtable discussions, and have like a rigid and fixed date for general body meetings so people sort of get used to the flow of things. That organizational structure is very important.
Thank you so much. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight, but thank you so much, Ladin, for spending some time to tell us more about your organization.
Yep, thank you.
Up next, Zachary and Jamie will bring you the latest news from across the nation. Stay tuned.